New Axe Fine Fragrance Collection. Smell irresistibly sweet for longer.
You know the quote. You know the quote, be the change you want to see in the world? Well, I'm pretty sure when it was said, it meant everyone except the people who made the Bob the Builder reboot. About a month ago, I made the mistake of asking people on Twitter what they thought the worst redesign of all time was, not realizing that it was home to the most passionate Bob the Builder fandom on the entire planet, because I was spammed with an army of blue checkmarks copy-pasting the exact same tweet about Velma and April O'Neil, as if they're allowed to have an opinion on anything when they literally pay for Twitter, and the other half were porn bots. And I don't want to talk about any of that weak shit, okay? I'm talking about how you can see the exact moment the guy who was designing Mega Man got divorced. As I'm sure we all know, people historically really love change, and have absolutely never freaked out and overreacted about things not looking exactly the same for the rest of time.
This show basically kicks Thundercats in the balls, and then it rips the balls off, and then it throws the balls on the ground after pissing on the balls.
Now, maybe I'm just used to it, because like a lot of the stuff I grew up with wasn't as concerned with consistent character design as it was like harvesting all of my pocket money by selling toys. Like, you know, as a kid whose special interest was sinking thousands of my parents' savings into Bionicles, all of these guys went through like a new design every year with gradually fluctuating levels of elbows. So, you know, between being a Power Rangers fan and my absent father, I kind of just got used to never being attached to anything. And now you get to experience what being on a first date with me is like, because I'm going to talk about Ben 10 for 30 minutes. There was not a single miss in the OG show, okay? Every single alien wouldn't be safe to eat because they're all so fucking raw. And then like, even when they did the sequel series, Alien Force, and changed the entire art style, I still think pretty much every redesign was a glow up, as long as we don't talk about Ripjaws. But then, when they made the fourth show, Omniverse, and changed the entire art style again, they suddenly decided that all of these fucking suck actually, and went out of their way to redesign every single alien in the entire series, and also retroactively canonize that all of them used to be butt-ass naked. Even the aliens that started out looking the same would show up with the most dogshit redesign of all time a few episodes later. Like, they knew that they couldn't possibly top my goat Swampfire, so they dedicated an entire episode to turning him into complete shit. Like, the ones that got the biggest upgrade were the ones that already looked like shit to begin with. Like, when your alien starts out by looking like a red ball sack, the only place to go is up, really. But it wasn't the only show to redesign the whole cast in between seasons, like Jake Long, American Dragon, being another tragic victim of the Ozempic epidemic. You look at like the Mystery Incorporated Scooby-Doo gang compared to the series that came out 5 years later that looks like a Family Guy cutaway gag. And wait, before you pretend to go to the bathroom, let me just talk about Ninja Turtles, okay? TMNT's a series that's been around for a while, but hasn't had too many big changes, really. Like, they've had a lot of different versions, sure, but generally they keep looking pretty much the same, like 4 identical turtles who like pizza and want to bang a human.
Do you sometimes wish that April was a turtle?
Oh, bro, I've been trying to talk her into an interspecies relationships for months now.
Whoa, Raph, chill, man.
Until Nickelodeon did Rise of the TMNT, where they made the turtles actually distinct from one another for the first time ever, which caused absolutely no issues with the most tolerant fan base of all time.
Everybody hates me!
No, little dude, honest.
Hold on. I hate him.
Same thing happened with the new movie they did, where these guys were losing their goddamn minds over the fact that they made April O'Neil not as hot as she was in the original show. Because apparently the only thing that makes good character design to these people is how easy it is to jack off to it. Which, like, don't even look that bad when you look at, like, the Michael Bay ones that look like Craig from Halo Infinite, okay? Suddenly Raph looking like Sonic Boom Knuckles isn't that bad, alright? And oh yeah, remember that time they tried to redesign the entire main Sonic cast by drowning them in toilet paper and anabolic steroids? I love Tails, I love Amy, Sonic is also there too, but that Knuckles is not it, bro. And you know, they might not look that different to any normal person watching, but you gotta understand, okay? These are Sonic fans we're talking about.
I want Sonic's arm to not be blue.
It's not like shitty redesigns and cartoons are a new thing anyway. Like, there was this 80s show called Captain N about a dude who teams up with a bunch of NES characters, where in every episode I feel like I'm on the top page of Pornhub because all I'm seeing is so much ass.
Simon Belmont, Kid Icarus, Mega Man? You guys aren't real.
It's the exact same thing with like redesigned corporate logos, right? Where for some reason every couple decades, any company with a really successful and easily recognizable logo feels compelled to order this contractually mandated downgrade where they piss away literally millions of dollars to suck out all of the sauce until they look like a fucking accounting firm. Like, look at Petco, bro. They killed the fucking dogs. Gap unironically hired some guy to open Microsoft Paint and then chuck the default font in a blue square in the corner, which cost them $100 million and then didn't even last a week before they changed it back. Sometimes it's for the best, though. Like, you ever see what the old Ronald McDonald used to look like?
What the fuck is that?
And I'm not saying that simpler is bad every time, okay? Like, at least the aliens in the Ben 10 reboot are actually possible for 8-year-old kids to make fan art of, okay? Trying to work out how the fuck to draw Wildvine as a kid was definitely responsible for, like, half of my mental health issues. But as a 37-year-old balding depressed man, I'm old enough to have grown up exclusively with all of those, like, creepy-ass British claymation shows that nowadays all have the exact same Cocomelon-ass art style where they sacrificed all of their aura to look like insurance mascots. Like, the new Bob the Builder looks like the before and after of taking 5 years of continuous methamphetamine. But like, I don't know, maybe these all just look weird to me because I'm a grown-ass man and these don't affect me in any way, you know? Maybe the Zoomers who grew up on these ones will think I'm a fucking idiot. Because I like the Skylanders Spyro more than the original, since that's the one I blew my entire life savings on as a kid. And this is the one that looks weird to me, even though his head looks like it's been repeatedly caved in with a shovel. It's still a lot nicer than what Microsoft did to Conquer, okay? I'm always gonna prefer the midlife crisis Spider-Man face to Temu Tom Holland because that's the one I sunk like 60 hours into. But then we look at movies, right? Which are doing the complete opposite, where for some reason, whenever they adapt literally anything with an already beloved design, they have to turn it into the most overcomplicated, unrecognizable homunculus. Like, you know, the American Godzilla taking the most iconic movie monster of all time and turning it into a T-Rex with bad posture, or basically any superhero costume from the 90s. Now, I bet you've been waiting for me to bring up the Sonic movie for like the 80th video in a row, but nope, I'm gonna be nice this time, okay? Because you know what I think is worse than that? Nothing. Fuck this shit. But easy second place goes to the Power Rangers movie. That Megazord looks like fucking ass. Why would you take one of the most peak designs of all time and then just turn it into a dude? Okay, this pasta tastes like shit because there's no goddamn sauce. The designers they get for the Disney live action remakes gotta have like the easiest job in the entire world because all they have to do is like look up a PNG of an animal and then call it Sebastian. Look at what they did to my boy Flounder. That is literally just a fish. This used to be a really big thing with superhero movies too, back when the Fox X-Men movies were terrified of primary colors and Galactus was a fart cloud. The first attempt at Deadpool showed everyone that removing literally every single defining aspect of a character is surprisingly a really bad idea. There were a lot of choices made with the Jared Leto Joker, and not a single one of them was good. And I think maybe the only consistent thing about the last couple phases of the MCU was them competing to see which redesign can be the biggest drop in quality. MODOK went from this to a guy. The leader went from Green Megamind to a guy. Gore went from like maybe one of the sickest villain designs of all time to a guy. I get like you can't just go completely comic accurate with some of these or that shit's gonna look goofy as fuck. Like I think every Spider-Man movie's kind of crushed it with doing like a mix of their own thing while still being actually recognizable. Not you. Like even in Detective Pikachu, where they basically kept everything exactly the same, still had to make everything overly detailed to the point that it like killed my childhood dream of wanting to be a trainer by making me afraid of every Pokemon in the movie. Same shit with the Minecraft movie, okay? That first trailer dropping didn't give me the greatest first impression when Steve was wearing this weird fucked up V-neck looking thing for some reason. But you know, after watching the movie, like honestly, it wasn't that bad. Minecraft is like basically impossible to translate to live action without looking like a little cooked, so I think they honestly did like alright. They're all still kind of weird if you look at any of them for more than 2 seconds, but everything pretty much looks the same as the game, just with like the RTX filter turned on, which is actually still better than Sonic 06, where because they wanted people to take it seriously this time, they made the art direction more realistic, which basically amounted to just making everyone longer. And even with the game fighting for its life to mesh the aesthetics of like disturbingly realistic people with giant talking cartoon animals, somehow no one got it as bad as Eggman.
Ah, look at the top of his head.
But redesigns don't even have to be that radical of a change to piss people off, okay? Even just changing the shoes on the sexy M&M mascots was enough to cause Tucker Carlson to have a mental breakdown on live TV.
The green M&M, you will notice, is no longer wearing sexy boots. Now she's wearing sensible sneakers. That's the goal. When you're totally turned off...
Dude, I want to jerk off! Fuck, I want to jerk off!
You really had to be there when the new Lola Bunny in Space Jam 2 dropped, okay? That shit was like 9/11 for the furry community. I don't know about you guys, but I like change, okay? Unless it's to like global tariffs and my hairline. And so, you know, I would rather a completely dogshit redesign than everything just being exactly the same all the time, okay? The new How to Train Your Dragon and Stitch remakes are like borderline plagiarized, which is why they're both really boring and definitely gonna make like $1 billion. The Donkey Kong and the new Mario Kart is a massive improvement for how he's looked for the last 5 console generations. Like he looks looks like he's my friend now, and not like he's been holding back 25 years of unspoken knowledge about Cranky Kong's hard drive. One of the coolest things about The Legend of Zelda is that Link looks different in literally every game, and this man has never looked bad except that one time. My favorite example is always going to be the Transformers movies, even though not a single one of these even remotely resembles the thing they're meant to be based on, and also single-handedly caused a mental health crisis for comic book artists. Unless we're talking about every single time they've tried to do Wheeljack, okay? Both the one from the third movie and the one that looks like a walking nerd emoji, because your character shouldn't be so ugly that I'm celebrating when he gets domed, okay? Something I used to love about Transformers was how much they would change shit every time they put out a new show. Like, it made all of these different parts of the franchise feel like really distinct and unique. So naturally, they've like gone and made everything look exactly the same for like the last 10 years. Like the series they just put out a couple years ago, Earthspark, that no one watched, has like some of the sickest redesigns in the entire series for like 3 guys, and then the rest of the cast is still the exact same copy-pasted bullshit they've been putting out for the last 40 years. Okay, but in saying that, okay, so they did the show in the 90s called Beast Wars that doesn't have a single bad design, okay? Every single one of these are bangers except for whatever Gooner they got to do Black Arachnia.
You're not gonna quit on me now, Bowser. Not when I've had my nails done and everything.
Boobies.
Then, when they did the sequel to it, Beast Machines, they decided to make the entire cast of the show look like spindly sleep paralysis demons. I dare you to try and name me a worse redesign than literally any of these, okay? You can't, because there isn't any. Don't you dare say Ash from Pokemon, okay? At least he actually looks like a 10-year-old now. If you want to complain about anything in that show, it should be about him progressively starving Pikachu to death for 150 seasons. I mean, sometimes it's just about art style, man. Like, I'm always gonna think the classic Sonic designs are way better, except when they're in 3D, where they look like fucking dog shit. As a PSA for any 40-year-olds watching this, first of all, I don't know how you got here, and second, please just cover your ears for a moment, because I think that all of the designs for the new She-Ra are like a million times better, because they actually look like different characters now, and not just the same person 15 times. Arcane was brave enough to ask the question, what if League of Legends designs were actually good? And Marvel Rivals just figured out that the secret to good character design is just to give everyone an ungodly amount of cake. Anyway, so yeah, that's about all I wanted to say. Thanks so much for watching, and I'm getting a second date, right?
And we send Rehams Deluxe, deliciously filled with banana choco cream and choco bits. Try now.
Hey y'all, it's me, the annoying orange. Shut up, you annoying orange, or I could shoot you.
You never realize how important good characters are until you watch 2 seconds of The Big Bang Theory. I don't know about you, but I would watch hours of the most boring-ass show of all time if it has a good cast, okay? I could care less about what they actually do. I would watch these people do their taxes for 26 episodes if they're fun to watch, okay? But if something has shitty characters, doesn't matter if they're in the main cast or just an annoying-ass side character that jump scares you every few episodes, I will drop that shit faster than my parents dropped me as a baby. And I'm not talking about characters that are meant to piss you off, okay? Like, the whole point of a heel in wrestling or Heather in Total Drama is to get you to keep watching so you can sit through 87 episodes just to see them get their ass beat. It's not that hard to tell the difference when the entirety of Hogwarts is also celebrating when, like, an elderly woman had her head caved in by a bunch of centaurs, okay? The point of her character is that even Dumbledore wanted that asshole dead. No, today I'm talking about characters that you would go to prison for. Ones that are so unbelievably dogshit that they change you as a person. Even if you don't remember anything about where they came from except how much you would have copped those 12 consecutive life sentences for them. I don't remember a single thing about Comey Can't Communicate other than the pure ancient caveman instincts of wanting to beat the shit out of everything within a 5-mile radius that I felt whenever this creature opened her mouth. Which puts her up there with, like, Minetta from My Hero because his quirk is being the world's biggest gooner. But, like, it wasn't the fact that she committed a federal crime in the 4th episode, okay? Hating a character has, like, nothing to do with whether or not they're a bad person. Vegeta is definitely responsible for making like a billion space orphans, but he's still like the second best Dragon Ball character after Piccolo, who has also murdered thousands of people. They could commit actual war crimes and people will still forgive them if they like the character. Like that one dude in Full Metal Alchemist who fused his 6-year-old infant daughter with a dog. I would be seeing daily thirst traps of this guy if he didn't look like a Discord mod. You know I'm right, okay? Because most of the time, people don't hate characters this much just because they did anything wrong, but for committing the much worse crime of just being really fucking annoying. For example. But first, a word from our sponsor. Guys, did you know that most websites actually sell your data for profit, okay? It's not a coincidence that you've been getting non-stop targeted ads about has-been hotel body pillows ever since you had that one really weird Friday night. Because they sell your information to these dudes called data brokers, whose entire job it is to invade your privacy for their own financial gain, and it's super cool that they don't even have to scam you to do it, they can just do that. So the reason why you have to give away your location, phone number, email, and blood type every time you just want to order some McNuggets is because they then go and sell it to the highest bidder on what's like the equivalent of eBay for your home address. And here's the thing, you can actually ask them to stop doing it, but what, are you gonna do that 300 times a day? So that's where Incogni comes in to do all that for you, because they automatically send out data removal requests on your behalf and get that one guy from Zimbabwe to stop calling 27 times a day. Incogni scans the web to find out which sites have all your data and deals with it for you on the day you start using it, so these guys can't keep making money off of flooding your email with 12 million unusable Domino's coupons. So if you want to check them out, make sure you use my code on screen for 60% off your first year. Thanks to Incogni, both for sponsoring this video and for making my email account actually usable for the first time in 10 years. Again, don't forget to use that code to get 60% off an annual plan. And now let's get back to being a hater.
Jar Jar Binks.
Beg your pardon?
Jar, excuse me.
So to set the scene, it's 1999, and we get a brand new Star Wars movie coming out after 16 years, and this shit was like the most hyped movie just of all time.
Well, there's no way it's gonna be a disappointment.
Are there any of you that think this is going to be a lousy movie?
People were camping out in lines with a higher population than a small country and breaking down crying when they finally made it to the cinema. Basically, everything was going really great until people actually saw the movie. Because not a single person expected like a quarter of the runtime to be filled with some fuck-ass CGI fart-sniffing creature who sounds like a coked-up minion. And they must have thought that like Jar Jar was like the second coming of Christ, because they plastered his ugly-ass face all over the merch, which made it feel even more like the only reason he was there making fart jokes in a Star Wars movie was to sell tongue lollipops to small children.
Why don't they like it? We spent $250 million on this.
The hate campaign for Jar Jar Binks began the same day he was born. People were outing this man as a racist. They were making custom VHS tapes of the movie where he died horribly. Famously, his actor had like a bunch of people calling him up daily, threatening to murder him, which thankfully would never happen to any other Star Wars actors who play characters people didn't like. And ever since, Jar Jar has been like scrubbed from the Star Wars franchise with the clinical efficiency of Joseph Stalin. And the only times they've been brave enough to even acknowledge his existence is in those like weird-ass Lego specials. And even there, it's still only for like 50 seconds.
These are going to hurt yourself.
Like, honestly, I think the only thing that people hate more than Jar Jar Binks is the crowd he was made for. And I mean, I'm the same, because personally, the only time I ever want to see George from Peppa Pig again is when I'm going 65 in the school zone. But he's not the only one. Manny Heffley, the Ice Age baby, Spider-Boy, Godzilla's ugly-ass son, that fucking dumbass kid from the Polar Express.
It's a magic train. Actually, it's a Baldwin 284 S3 class Berkshire-type steam locomotive.
And they all still haven't gotten it as bad as Caillou, who gets bullied by grown-ass adults on a daily basis for causing an actual real-life epidemic of behavioral issues, because this little shit spends every episode of his show throwing a bitch fit, and only getting away with it because he shaves his head so he looks like a Make-A-Wish kid. The review section for Stuart Little on Letterboxd is actually just the world's largest collection of fan fiction about brutally murdering a child. As if it's like his fault that he got chosen over the other kids at the orphanage. Like, bro, as if I'm gonna adopt a normal boring-ass orphan who's just gonna be sad that they don't have parents over the mouse that can talk. But you can be memed, okay? You can have a whole-ass series on YouTube dedicated to violently murdering you for some reason. But you'll never be so washed that the only time you ever get to show up anymore is to get nuked out of existence. I didn't know shit about Scrappy-Doo. I only ever knew him as like Mr. Bean in that live-action movie where he pisses on Daphne. I didn't even know he just started out as some annoying-ass dog that they threw into the OG Scooby cartoon to try and boost the ratings. Because like Scrappy wasn't like the rest of the mystery gang who were a bunch of massive pussies. This dude was ready to throw hands with fucking anyone. And people were actually cool with him at first, which makes sense because this was the same decade where Pet Rocks came out. The problem was that people liked him so much that they wrote out every other character from the show until people got sick of the little shit and got the whole show cancelled. And now like the only time he shows up in Scooby-Doo is as the villain or to be passionately cyberbullied.
Wow,
I haven't seen.
Look away, Daphne. We all promised each other that we would never speak of him.
Like, I'm pretty sure he only showed up in Velma because he saw that there was a new Scooby-Doo character that everyone hated and just had to take out the competition. So then maybe the only thing worse than being annoying is like the cardinal sin of mildly inconveniencing the plot in any way. Again, Vegeta we're all fine with despite him having a higher body count than that one OnlyFans girl. But my man Yamcha has been on the receiving end of the biggest smear campaign in history, all because he got jumped by the first bad guy he fought in the whole series one time. Like, if you go back and actually watch the scene, the dude puts up a pretty good fight, okay? How is he meant to know that the thing could suicide bomb itself? But it's too late, because this is his legacy now. This fucking Peter Griffin death pose is what his grandkids are going to remember him for. If he even has grandkids, because he also had his girl stolen by Space Hitler. And now he suffered the same fate as most Dragon Ball characters, where his biggest role is going to be decorated in the background. Same with Shinji from Evangelion crying his way through 26 episodes in like 7 movies, which honestly would be the most realistic reaction to this series of events, but everyone just calls him a pussy anyway. You got Hot Rod from Transformers the movie that had a whole army of 8-year-olds ready to jump his ass for getting Optimus Prime killed and pissed off a whole generation of kids to the point that it's still giving 50-year-olds more of an emotional response than the assassination of JFK. It's the same reason people hate Abby from The Last of Us, because they can't get over her killing Joel, even though she arguably had like the most justified reason in the entire world for doing so, given that Joel might have shot her dad in the face a little bit. Or even with like Breaking Bad and Skylar White, we're in a show about drug lords, child murderers, and corrupt lawyers. The most hated character is my bitch wife who won't let me make a meth empire. What's the worst thing Skylar even did? Smoke while pregnant? Okay, yeah, that was pretty bad. But I would argue that literally every decision she makes is completely reasonable for anyone that's in her situation, but she's still kind of annoying, so Jarvis, send in the death threats. Same with Captain Marvel, and Rey, and Korra. If only all of these characters had something in common. I just don't know what it is. Everyone hates on Amber from Invincible because she got mad at Mark for lying to her about being a superhero, but she's still nowhere near as bad as Eve's dad, who spends all of his time hating on his own daughter and making you wish Omni-Man would come back down to Earth for one more round. Another one I've been hearing about lately is Paul from Spider-Man, who people talk about like he's the spawn of Satan. Now, I've never read a comic that doesn't have Sonic the Hedgehog in it in my entire life. Everything that I know about this man has been from my Twitter feed against my will, but that's how far the hatred for this dude goes, that even I know why everyone wants this fucker hung by jumper cables. Because Spider-Man's greatest villain is actually the Marvel editorial, who decided that Peter and MJ weren't allowed to be married because they think that if Peter is ever happy or in a committed relationship, then their readers wouldn't be able to relate to him anymore. So they put out like this entire event where Spider-Man makes a deal with the actual devil to sacrifice his loving wife and future daughter to save his 90-year-old decrepit aunt. And after years of teasing whether they were going to undo this thing that literally every single person agrees was the shittest idea ever, they instead invented some random, sometimes insanely ripped man named Paul, who just shows up in the comic with no explanation, whose sole purpose in life is to cuck Peter Parker. Being on Twitter the same day this man's fake kids with MJ died was the hardest I've seen people celebrate since we lost Queen Liz. But here's the thing, right? They literally just put out a brand new Spider-Man run where Peter's an adult who's married to MJ, and everyone fucking loves it, so what are we doing here, guys? But look, okay, I can handle annoying ass side characters that make me want to jump off a bridge, but at least they're not 1/6 of the main cast of the show, unlike maybe my least favorite character of all time.
In the latest update version 1.6.1, Once Human introduced a new seasonal feature in the Vision.
Ross Geller, aka the Antichrist. I have never, in my life, hated anyone more than Ross from Friends. If I had 2 bullets in a room with Ross, Bin Laden, and the guy that invented Captcha, that fucker is getting double tapped, sorry. There's a reason that there's so many videos that make him look like a complete psychopath as soon as you take out the laugh track, okay?
You attacked your ex-wife? Oh, no. I tried. Maybe we could attack them together.
I don't know how this man gets laid so much. This motherfucker had like 14 relationships through the show. I don't understand why they treat him like some sort of god of Riz when he sounds like a fucking Reddit mod.
By the way, if it makes you feel any better, I happen to like 8-year-old boys.
There's a point where he like dates one of his students who is like 18 when he is 12 years older than her, and also her teacher. Bro had to resort to a minor because he's already fumbled half the women in New York City. He's so down bad he tried to make out with his cousin one time.
What the hell are you doing? I haven't had sex in a very long time.
Don't even get me started on all the shit with Rachel, who was someone that he was crushing on since he was old enough to be in the age range for most Minecraft YouTubers, okay? First of all, when he finally kissed Rachel after like a season of build-up, it was while he was dating another girl. Nice. So then he makes a fucking list of pros and cons of whether to stay with the girl he just cheated on, which Rachel finds out about and still decides to date him anyway. But he somehow fumbles their relationship so badly that when Rachel asks for a break, the man doesn't even wait 5 minutes to go and pound some other girl. And look, yeah, breaks are stupid and don't make any sense, but like, dude couldn't even wait a day. And then after that, Rachel still decides to give him a second chance as long as Ross could admit that he was in the wrong for sleeping with another girl 15 seconds after they broke up, and he still couldn't do it. Then later, when he agrees to marry some other girl after only a few months of dating, he says the wrong name at the altar.
Take thee, Emily. Take thee, Rachel.
Her therapist is going to be employed for years because of this man. When he got married to Rachel after they got really drunk one time, he lied about getting it annulled and then went around telling everyone not to tell her about it. Like, what was his plan? Was he just going to keep pretending like they weren't married forever? Are you insane? In one of the later seasons, when Joey wants to go out with Rachel, which is like one of the worst plot lines in the entire show, but that's not the point, Joey decides that he isn't going to do anything about it because he doesn't want to upset Ross, even though they broke up like 4 fucking years ago at that point, but he was still trying to be considerate because he's actually a decent human being. But then when Joey breaks up with the girl he was dating, Ross immediately starts plowing her. And at the end of the day, after all of the horrible shit that he did, in the final episode, he still pulls the girl of his dreams. And I will never not be mad that the show doesn't end with him getting fucking publicly executed. He's a shit boyfriend, shit friend, shit father, definitely homophobic.
Are you gay?
And I just need to say, I have nothing against David Schwimmer, okay? But I went to the UK a couple years ago when they had a Friends exhibition, and I bought a Ross plushie that my friends and I spent an entire 5 hours violently torturing. We beat the shit out of him, we ironed him, we dragged his corpse through every floor in the hotel, we hung that fucker off the lobby balcony. It was just one of the best nights of my entire life. Anyway, I feel better now after getting all that off my chest, so go ahead and tell me about all the characters you hate down in the comments. I won't read it. See you guys next time.
We took a little trip along with Colonel Packenham up the Mississippi. We took a little bacon and we took a little beans, and we met the bloomin' rebels in a town in New Orleans. We fired our guns and the rebels kept a-comin'. There wasn't as many as there was a while ago. We fired once more and they began to runnin' on down the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. We looked up the river and we see the rebels come, while we had at least 100 of us beating on the drum. We stepped so high and we made our bugles ring, while they stood beside their cotton bales and didn't say a thing. We fired our guns and the rebels kept a-comin'. There wasn't as many as there was a while ago. We fired once more and they began to runnin' on down the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. Old Hickory said they could take us by surprise if they didn't fire their muskets till they looked us in the eye. They held their fire till they seed our faces well, then they opened up their squirrel guns and really gave us well. We fired our guns and the rebels kept a-comin'. There wasn't as many as there was a while ago. We fired once more and they began to runnin' on down the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. Yeah, they ran through the briars and they ran through the brambles and they ran through the bushes where a rabbit couldn't go. Ran so fast that the hounds couldn't catch him, down the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. They fired their cannon till the barrel melted down, so they grabbed an alligator and they fought another round. They filled his head with cannonballs and powdered his behind. When they touched the powder off, the gator lost his mind. We fired our guns and the rebels kept a-comin'. There wasn't as many as there was a while ago. We fired once more and they began to runnin' on down the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. Yeah, they ran through the briars and they ran through the brambles and they ran through the bushes where a rabbit couldn't go. Ran so fast that the hounds couldn't catch him, on down the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico.
Me bottom are advised to seek shelter immediately. Rising platform informations. Can't stay on during the storm.
You what? I went to college. Anchovies.
Rising class stays up and for business. Loving that really not no out.
Did you see my beach ball? It's the perfect shade of yellow and bounces just right on the sand. I can't wait to play with it all day.
Stop fucking throwing me around like a bomb, Honorable. Can't you see I'm trying to relax here?
Captain D. Junior!
Please stop talking about those damn PPs. You're ruining my appetite for me money.
But Mr. Krabs, you don't understand the complexity of a perfectly baked PP. The flaky crust, the creamy filling, it's a work of art that must be appreciated.
Yeah, okay, but with the signals. I mean, seriously, kids, what are we even doing here? We drank that stupid potion and now we're cursed or something.
Oh, come on, bubble bath.
3 hours later. Fuck. A few more.
So why use Grammarly over ChatGPT? Well, Grammarly offers expert writing suggestions versus something generic that everyone.
I hate these weird substitutes for names. The Noirette. I've gotten somewhat used to seeing the Brunette, but what the hell is Noirette? It sounds like dark chocolate and not like it's referring to someone's hair color. Also, both characters in this scene have brown hair. Useless epithets, my beloved. I actually don't mind those. But what the f*** is Noirette? I don't know, it sounds like a pretentious cigarette and cigar company to me. I thought this was a slur for a hot second. Am I the only one who thought this meant it was a short noir story? Like a noir novella? I read a fic where the main female character was almost always referred to this because she had black hair. It was frustrating. I'd rather see her name being overused than seeing Noirette 30 times a chapter. Especially in reader fics where they use hair color-ette. Like, yes, redette is not a freaking word. It sounds like I'm pretentiously trying to pronounce Reddit. Redditor. How dare you do this to me? How dare you make me read that with my own 2 eyes? You monster. Bluenet and Greenet are the bane of my existence when reading. I muted the word Greenet on Twitter, and all Deku fic threads disappeared. A friend sent me a screenshot of a fic ages ago where someone referred to Shigaraki as the Whitehead, and afterwards all I could think about was how he was just a giant pimple. Sometimes I'm so glad I'm not in any anime fandoms. Then again, Teen Wolf has some of the worst epithets, and they're super common. If I never see the crooked-jawed teen again, it won't be soon enough. Bluenet is a plague on the Fire Emblem fandom. I always think about the Miraculous fandom. It's worse because Marinette's hair is actually meant to be black and just looks blue due to anime logic. I saw the picture of the word first and thought it was a Chat Noir / Marinette ship name. Noirette. I once read a fic where one of the characters was referred to as a Ravenette. I just saw Ravenhead, and it made me picture someone with a bird's head instead of a human head. Which is extra hilarious given that Raven-haired is right there. Which is also overused in Harry Potter. It's almost enough cause to make me not finish a work by itself. No decent writers use it. I'm fine when Ravenhead is used once in a blue moon. It's like finding a hidden Easter egg weeks after the holiday passed. As a Final Fantasy VII fan, the number of times I have stumbled into Silverette has done nothing to numb the pain. I'd forgive it, possibly, if referring to Yazoo and Yazoo only, because he's fabulous. But I would still squint about it judgmentally for the next few paragraphs. But if I see the word Silverette one more time while I'm trying to think about Sephiroth's boobs, I'll summon Meteor myself. There's this Hunter x Hunter fic that I absolutely love, but they keep referring to Kahlua as the Pearlette, and I just can't get past it. I'll give credit for being creative, though. Saw Magentette and Pinkette once. Cried. Same, dude. I see Pinkette and I want to scream. I saw an Auburnette once and almost noped out, but I liked the story well enough to ignore it. Baldette. One that made my skin itch is Gingerhead. Rhymes with gingerbread. All I can visualize is a literal head of a ginger root. But yes, at least it's festive. I saw an orange-haired character, whose name is 4 letters long, get called Tangerine Head in a fic. I usually can ignore epithets, but that one was so long and bad, it took me out of the fic. At least it's not as bad as something like the other male or female. Use man or woman or person, for fuck's sake. Nothing worse than reading a romance fic and reading the younger male or female. It makes it sound creepy, even if it's not. Like, bro, they're 2 years apart. Why are you emphasizing this? The Dorito. Okay, it's a fandom joke, but you don't use it in these serious contexts. I got so viscerally incensed reading these annoying epithets in fics all the time that I decided to just straight up never use any epithets in my own writing ever out of sheer spite. Whenever the urge strikes to use any kind of epithet, I simply replace it with the name of the character and continue on my merry way. Same here. It's just unnecessary to find a different word for someone's name. It's like saying, I use the word the too much. Maybe I'll find another word for it, like the or that. I swear, some people are so scared of using the same word twice, it's ridiculous. The same thing happens with people pulling out the most insane words to use instead of said that absolutely nobody knows what they mean. Sometimes the name of the character, or just saying said, works better. Like I always tell people, don't be afraid of repeating the characters' names over and over and over again. I love people trying to use anything but the characters' names. Shout out to that one fic that had the quadripartite tunic wearing teen or something like that. You live rent-free in my brain. I like BlueNet, and if someone mutes me for using it, well, that improves both of our lives. My relief at finally seeing a not weirdly angry about this person while scrolling down this page is a lot. I swear, this thread is making me want to specifically go out and write a My Hero Academia fic that's just chock full of hair color words. Maybe I'll give someone a quirk based on hair colors or something. If people mute or block me for it, good riddance. Huh. I love them. It's so unserious. Give me all the greenettes. BlueNet amuses me. I've used it in one fic because someone got hate comments over using it, so I put it in my next fic in solidarity. I'm lucky. Even though I read so many anime fanfics, the vast majority of authors that I see prefer to describe the appearance rather than use a single random word. Like, if it's not the basic hair color, they use it with a connection to something of the same color. The most I've seen is them writing how the character with white hair reminds them of snow, clouds, etc. As someone who reads in plenty of anime fandoms, I cry. At least when they're used, the writing is usually weak enough that I can decide not to finish pretty quickly. But occasionally, the writing isn't actually half bad, and then I'm in a quandary working out whether my annoyance over the epithets is overpowering how much I'm otherwise enjoying the fic. That usually depends on how often epithets are used and how obnoxious they are. Like the other day, I was reading a quite fun fic, but they kept using the older boy or girl for people that were in the same class. It's not a particularly obnoxious epithet on its own, but I had no idea which characters were older or younger because they're all the same age. Then they called the previously younger character the older, talking about the same two characters, and it was at that point that I threw up my hands and gave up. And throw back to that time I was reading a fic with several redheads in a scene, and something like the ginger or the redhead was used, and there was absolutely no other context about who was talking. And those times when the author has changed the character's hair color and refers to them by their non-canon hair color. It's bad enough when I can work out who's talking from context, but these examples were just confusing. Obligatory disclaimer that not all epithets are bad. It depends how you use them. If you're just trying to avoid using a name or a pronoun, that's a huge red flag.
What's up mga trader at welcome nga pala dito sa aking trading channel.
But if there's a legitimate reason and the epithet makes sense and can't apply to 5 people in the same scene, you're probably okay. Like, I can understand the issues with things like pinkette, greenette, redette, bluenet, but for me, the problem is because the language setup is wrong. Blonde and brunette are French, so the color also needs to be in French or Latin. Rosette is already a word with an existing meaning, but roseate is a word meaning of the color rose or pink, and it works as roseate with a masculine or feminine spelling. Verdette and brunette spelled the French way follow the correct language setup and are more visually appealing than greenette and bluenet in my humble opinion. And there's already any number of terms for redheads, from copper to ginger to auburn, but if a specific crimson or blood red shade is needed, why not scarlet? But I don't know, maybe too many of my fandoms do heavy color symbolism, and I think about it too much. Big thank you to my Patreon members, My Little Ruse, Kuski55, Nebulatic Vexen, Donka42, John Huang, Laser Scorpio, Night Avenger, Mintara, Somnophobic Danny, Savage Otters, Valzy, RG Laws Writer, Terabyte AIX, and Kestrel. Thank you so much for your extra support on Patreon. It means the world to me. I'm so glad to have you here. Thank you again. Hope you guys are doing well. I wish you all the best. And the same goes to my YouTube channel members, my mini-roos, Taylor Thompson, Foxstar Killer, and This Person 10. Thank you so much for your extra support. I'm so glad to have you be a part of my YouTube channel. Hope you guys are doing well too. I really appreciate your extra support. Keep on being awesome as always. And thank you to everyone else for watching. I hope it was entertaining to see people's opinions on this and sparked some interesting debate for you over whether you think epithets and particularly epithets with kind of made up words like greenet and bluenet, do you think they can be okay, or are you completely against anything like that? Or do you think they should be used all the time because they're fun? I think there's a lot of different opinions, a lot of shades of gray, but the most important thing is, as long as you're writing what you enjoy writing, I think that's what matters most. If you think it's a nice word to use, I think you should use it. That's my opinion. Wear it proudly if you like using fun epithets like this, but also, it's okay if you don't like them, as long as we're all nice to each other about it. I'll see you in the next video, everybody. And until then, I wish you all the very best. I went to bed after putting down a fanfiction note. This was the note. I was starting a one-shot late at night / early in the morning and noticed autocorrect changing up my whole story because I was making so many grammatical errors because of sleep deprivation. As I finished for the night, I decided to write out the plot for the following few sentences. This is what I came up with. I have no idea where the hell my story is going. I assure you I looked more or less the same when I was younger, he said. I don't believe that. He didn't answer. He was chernig because he found Lopjol for fwinnig fectioned and revenig uya finishibig tom ruu. Your brain was like, I'll figure this out, Tom Ruu. I've never seen someone shipped with the Swedish chef before. As a Welsh speaker, my brain instantly tried to read that as Welsh and failed. When I'm too sleepy and accidentally turn myself Welsh. This was what I wrote the other night. See now's hot Yusuf Kafir, desohatu, hudsij h with. I once woke up from a dream in the middle of the night where I somehow had this genius idea to finish a story I was writing. And I woke up, opened the notes app on my phone, typed something, and then went back to sleep. I woke up in the morning to see together, like feathers. I have no idea what it meant to this day, but I know the dream that inspired me had nothing to do with it. Many years ago, my sister and I were up late doing roleplay tags on LiveJournal, and we were both tired as hell. My sister logged off, and I was like, alright, I'll do one more tag and go to bed. But I was so tired, I kept nodding off as I was typing, and kept having to correct typos as I went. Finally, I was certain my tag was done and correct, so I hit post and went to bed. Later in the day, my sister called, laughing hysterically and telling me to go look at what I'd posted. There, right in the middle of a sentence, was the phrase, toe the dog line. My sister was like, what does it mean? And I was like, man, I don't even know. Toe the dog line? I'm screaming. We need to make that an officially correct statement. Aw, man, I hate it when half-asleep brain is like, this is very obvious, and of course I will remember what I was talking about. Because it is always something illegible like that, or else something absolutely psychotic, like Flying Cheeseburger Homeostasis Paradise. And you are left there like, well, clearly I had a plan, but I definitely don't have one now. Not for a fic, but I once put down a note that was TDW2D Paris V, and it took me actual months to figure out. It wasn't even misspellings from being tired. It was just that I was too confident that I would remember. This is how I type with fake nails. I once woke up in the middle of the night because I had the best writing idea ever. I thought, it's so genius, I will remember it all if I only read this one word, and it all would surely come back to me. The word in question that I have written down. Avag. I have no idea what I meant with it. If it means anything to someone, please enlighten me. If it doesn't, then join the laugh with me about this genius idea of mine. At least you tried to write it down. I'm always like, I'm too tired to write, but it's so good, I'll remember in the morning. And then I don't. Big thank you to my Patreon members, My Little Ruse, Kuski55, Nebulatic Vexen, Sam, Donka42, John Huang, Laser Scorpio, Night Avenger, Mintara, Somnophobic Danny, Savage Otters, Falsey, RG Lawswriter, and Terabyte AIX. And thank you also to my YouTube channel members, my Mini Ruse, AD, Taylor Thompson, Foxstar Killer, and This Person 10. And thank you to everyone else for watching. Happy New Year. May wonderful things in life start coming your way.
Unlock a new world of efficiency with Asana. Automate workflows so your team can have less follow-up and more follow-through. Identify blockers to keep work, projects,
Gentlemen, cheers. What the hell is that? My hand. But of course. Too easy. What did I miss?
It's perfect.
My hand. Success. After you. Very nice. My hand. Well done, us. Are you ready? With my apologies. I did all I could. Top shelf. Shall we? Excellent. All in a day's work. Very nice. Gentlemen, I'm back. Marvelous. My hand. Very nice. Very nice. Oh, yes. Very nice. Cheers. Gentlemen. I'll give it a good home. We earned this. Another day, another back with a gaping stab wound. Ten hit. Look at you. Saddest bunch of club sandies this side of the Susquehanna. We've got a war on, men. You may not know it. The paper pushers may not know it. But I know it. We are at war with peace. Peace makes us weak. Peace makes us flabby. Peace is a sprinkled donut and a bed of flapjacks at a table set by our enemies. And I will not let you eat that donut. Sir! Yes, sir! All right, mortar training. Turn those targets to tapioca.
crab cakes.
Citizens of Kashmir, we have been attacked. And now, the gloves are coming off! Attention, humans!
What is it, Meow?
You have attacked my region without provocation! Apologize at once!
Over my dead body.
That can be arranged.
Sorry, Meow. We don't negotiate with quadrupeds.
See. Enjoy this day, mi coro pants. For tomorrow, the sky will blacken with our thunder, and your streets will run a damp with the slime from your noses.
Sergeant, status report. Sir, friggin' tabbies are at our doorstep. Listen. We're out of options. Unless... Sir... Boot the CDF. The computer defense system? But it's never been tested, sir. You want to smell your mother's rump roast again, Sergeant? More than anything, sir. Then do as I say! Holy baloney.
Greetings. How shall I defend your species?
I bet you're wondering why I pulled you out of cold storage there, Commandant. We've got a feline infestation of the highest order. And I need a few good men with a few less nostrils to take the fight to those furballs. Can I count on you?
Negative.
Negative?
Require visual reference for enemy.
Son of a biscuit. Friggin' Toaster doesn't know what a cat looks like. Furball, cat, feel... Kill the cats, get it?
Affirmative. Targets acquired.
Double crab cakes. Hey, Commandant! I know you're in there! Come out and meet your maker!
Who's there?
It's McGutterpants. I need to see him. And hurry. I'm freezing my home fries off.
He will see you, but wipe your feet. Mm-hmm.
Well, what in marination is taking so long?
I give you His Excellency, Gary.
Namaste, General. Yeah, war's gotten out of control, Gary. Whole world's a flaming meat pie. I used to hate peace. Now I'm craving it like a lemon parfait.
Oh, my son. I can see you are suffering.
Look, I know we've had our disagreements in the past, but can you help me, Gary?
If you are asking, can I bring peace to this world? The answer is no. What I can bring is the pain.
Silver Spark, come on out and face me! And hurry up! My life could end at any second!
Succulentus. Is that you?
That's right! And I'm taking you down once and for all, Silver Spark, in the name of the Cactus Crew! Are you ready? Are you ready? Every step that I take is another mistake for you!
But under the pressure of walking in your shoes, every step that I take is another mistake to you. I've become so numb.
I wanna see you try to take a swing at me! I wanna see you try to take a swing at me!
Oh! Yes! I knew this was the perfect gift!
Now you've woken up the demon in me.
Now you've woken up the demon in me.
You're not your monkey down with the sickness!
Why'd you come to the plaza to fight me?
You wanted to!
Why'd you go and drag out the past?
You wanted to!
That's not true!
Here you go, create another table. You wanted to. Grab a brush and put a little makeup. You wanted to. Undiscuss the fader with the shake up. You wanted to. Why'd you leave the kids up on the table? You wanted to. Well, I don't think you trust.
That's the last thing I wanted!
Then why'd I get a call saying you wanted to throw down?
Silver Spark!
Hey, how's it going?
No! Stop confusing what is real.
Fear is how I fall. Confusing what is real.
It doesn't matter who brought me here. You're gonna pay for all those years of beating me down!
Were we really like this 6 to 11 years ago?
A balloon cactus bloom in the plaza. A balloon cactus bloom in the plaza. A balloon cactus bloom in the plaza. A balloon cactus bloom. a bloom cactus bloom in a bloom of cactus bloom cactus bloom in the bloom cactus.
You feeling all right?
It's been a while.
What do you say we call off this power battle and sort things out over some coffee?
Yeah, a coffee would really wake me up inside about now.
Wake me up inside. Wake me up inside. Call my name.
Those are good times. You take care of yourself now.
Yes, you too. And not find my thoughtless goof of a grandson.
Lipat na sa tamang timplang mas pinasarap. New Great Taste White.
Boost your anti-blemish morning routine with a Nivea Derma Skin Clear Rebalance and Clear Serum.
At the court of King Chaos, only blood can right its own tragedy.
Oh
Hey, Vsauce, Michael here. Where are your... Hey, Vsauce, Michael here. Where are your fingers? Serious.